Okay everybody, welcome to the competition preparation webinar for the Queen Mary University London element of the Tomorrow's Engineers EEP Robotics Challenge. This competition day is on Tuesday the 7th of June and the actual day will start at about 10 o'clock but you can arrive from 9 o'clock and the event will aim to finish at around 3 o'clock. We'll take some questions throughout the presentation or at the end, and we can follow your questions on the chat function. So hopefully you'll be able to hear us, and I will start going through the presentation. So the aims of the webinar, we're going to talk about logistics. I'll go over what I've already previously spoken about in webinars about the competition. We'll talk about the judging process, and we'll talk about logistics and moving around Queen Mary University London. All questions are answered, and you can see there that there's a lovely picture of the room that we're going to be based in for the majority of the competition, which is called the Octagon. Very historical. So logistics. We have planned for around 10 pupils per group, but larger teams may be allowed if you have them. So if you do have 12, for example, if you let me know your numbers, then we'll be able to make sure that we have capacity, and I'm sure we'll be able to accommodate. So refreshments and lunch, please make sure that the students and accompanying staff have got your own lunches. The venue, like the other venues, has got a shop and a cafe if you do need to use that facility, but it is advised that you do bring your own lunches. So parking is available in other places, but in London we do have that restriction. If you do have a minibus that you intend to bring, if you just advise, we may be able to accommodate, but you do need to speak to us in advance because, as you imagine, city centre London is very, very difficult and will be a challenge. So if you please let me know in advance, that would be advisable. If you are using a minibus and dropping the children off at the beginning of the day and then it's picking you up at the end of the day, then that should be fine. But otherwise, London would be better on public transport. So power will be available in the Octagon for where you're based, but we do recommend that you bring AA batteries along with you just in case your robots do lose power because of an unforeseen reason on the day. Technology, it's recommended that you bring your own devices, so your own laptop, PC or tablets, so that you can make changes to programming on the day and for your robot design competition. So obviously please bring your pre-programmed, pre-built robot on the day with any attachments, and also please feel free to brand your team. It adds to the fun of the day and gives your team an identity that you might be able to take through to the national final or use again if you go into the first LEGO League. Space challenge mats. We will be providing a practice mat for you on the day. This venue doesn't really have the space to be able to bring your own mat, so please just use the mats available on the day. So the venue is the Queen Mary University on Mile End, and here are the nearest tube stations, the Mile End Central Line or Stepney Green on the District Line. It's located within the Queen's building, and it's the original library to the Queen Mary College. So I'm going to hand over at this stage to Ho, who is our lovely host for the day.
Hello everyone, so my name's Ho and I'm the Electronics Lab Manager at QMUL University. In actual fact, my role is slightly different to what you might expect, but I have kind of a bit of a wider ranging set of activities. So taking part in activities like this and the LEGO League is absolutely fantastic, and it's really good that we're able to bring you this event. So we're really happy to actually host this for you. Erica, can I just have the screen?
Yeah,
and
of course.
I shall...
Sorry, I will transfer to you. Okay.
Lovely. Let me just get to here. So I'll just... Okay, so hopefully you can just see the slides. So we'll just go back to the venue. Okay. So the venue obviously is at QMUL University in London, and that is obviously in the slightly more east side of London if you don't already know it. So as Eric has said, we have Stepney Green, which is located to this side of London, and of course Mile End Station, which is over this side. So it's quite easy to get to, and as Erica said, if you really need to take a minibus or drive, we can sort out something for parking on site, but we really need to know in advance if possible. Okay. So we are going to be in the Queen's Building, and if you've been to the Queen's Building before, this is what it looks like. It's on the main Mile End Road. It's very noticeable from the clock tower that is in front of it, and it's straightforward to get to. Again, there's a nice drive bay in front, and you can, if you're getting a taxi, minibus or something, you can drive straight in and drop everything off that you need. So very, very convenient. Now to the back of the building, there's this fantastic library, and you've seen the initial image that Erica had up, and it's in actual fact it still is a library. It's got some sections from some old books which are still in use, and yes, it's technically active, but during term time it's used for lectures sometimes, and of course events like what we're going to run on the 7th. Now this is the back of the building, so the intention is that we will have some breakout rooms, and the breakout rooms will be in the geography building, which is just here. So there's a little bit of movement around, but it shouldn't be a problem. We'll have everything signposted up, just in case you're worried about losing any of your students on the way. It should all be no problem at all. We've done this before, but it's a nice thing to actually not be in the same room for the entire day. So it's good to get out from one room to another. And this area, in actual fact, is going to double up. As you can see outside, there's a few seats outside, so during the lunchtime it'd be highly recommended that people come outside, have a nice lunch outside. It's going to be fantastic weather, of course, and it's going to be a great day. So this is what it's going to look like. There's also the canal side, so I don't know, I don't think we're going to have a great deal of time in the day. We've got a fairly packed schedule, and we'll come to that in a short while, but to the slight side of the campus there's a fantastic canal area. It's a really nice recreational space, and a lot of the students do come here just to chill out when it's when the studying gets a bit too much. But of course we're going to be really high and active from obviously all the activities of the day. So that's kind of a brief outline of where we are and what things kind of look like. Now on the day, as you probably know, there are a couple of tasks that your teams will have to undertake. So that is the robot challenge, the robot design description, there's obviously the project itself that you've got to describe, and then there's a teamwork challenge. Now there's obviously going to be a lot of movement around these spaces, and we've tried to cut up all of the activities. So there's a bit of a gap in between so that you can prepare for each of those activities. As you can see in this diagram, the robot challenge takes place in the octagon, and of course the robot design as well, because of the fact that we will have judges that can wander around to the pits that will be in the octagon. They can just go to those places. All the other places are mainly going to be in those breakout rooms in geography. So just if you have a look at this diagram, we've basically got the octagon here, and as you can see there's lots of those blue blue spaces, they're going to be the pits. I've kind of arbitrarily placed those down at the moment. There may not be so many on the day, but you'll be based in that space. In the middle will be our competition tables where people will be doing the robot game. And of course, people will be invited obviously to come around and have a look. We'll have a compere on the day. She's a lady called Astrid. She's fantastic. She really gets the kids going, and she was actually when we hosted our Lego League, she was actually comparing for that. And she was so good, they invited her to do the national final as well. So it's going to be a really, really highly active day. And as you can see, facility is all very close, so not a problem. Everything's localish. Just outside, obviously upstairs, and then you'll get out to those breakout rooms. So really, just to put your mind at ease, if you've got any concerns about where we're going to be, what we're going to, what it's all going to look like, I think everything's straightforward. We have done this before. So this is kind of what the format of the day effectively looks like, and we'll come back to this in a second because I think people might have some questions about this as it happens. But in essence, we're trying to fit ourselves within a nice time frame, mainly for yourselves as well. You're going to want to get in, do these activities, have enough time to do them. We're going to have obviously introduction at the beginning. We'll do all these activities that we need to take part in, which basically will be the project presentation and all the other team activities. And then of course we'll have 2 rounds of the robot challenge, and that's obviously going to take place in the octagon itself. Near the end of the day, we're going to have some presentations so that we can get our judges to sum up everything that we've done through the day, and hopefully have a great award ceremony where obviously those who have succeeded and taken part will be awarded, and it's going to be a good day and a good send-off at the end. But like I said, we'll come back to this if you've got any questions at the end. Now, I was kind of asked, what do we really feel is going to happen on the day? And from the experience that we had from the Lego League, it kind of varies. So what we have is, you might get a lot of this. Okay, a lot of hair pulling, a lot of kind of, oh my God, what's happening? But that's fine. That's pretty normal. You might get a bit of anxious, kids not really sure what's going to happen. There's quite a lot of that. There's also a lot of hard thinking. We always like a lot of that because, of course, it shows that the students have done a really good job. And obviously some of the good ones, and this is actually our winners from our Lego League, who actually went on to the national finals and became the runners-up. And they just came back from Tenerife, which was one of the world finals, and they won a prize there for innovation. So they're a fantastic team. As you can see, cool and looking really composed, very confident in what they're doing. So you've kind of got a bit of a mix of what might happen on the day. But please take away from this that all these things will happen, and they are all good things that will happen because it's all about the experience. I can guarantee you that at the end of the event, you will have all smiling faces because everyone will have enjoyed what has happened. And I'm pretty sure that nobody can spot a kind of a frowning face in this picture at the end, which is what we had at the end. I mean, it might be my face because I was completely tired out at the end because it was so energetic and it was so fun to do it. So whatever state that your team is in, we had some beginner teams that were here for the first time who did well. There were some who didn't perform so well, but they all had a good time. And I think the experience of doing it is really the key. I mean, a lot of the teams had some good guidance. Some of the teams didn't have much guidance. The teachers just let them go and do their own thing, and they really excelled in that. Our observation was that when they are sometimes left to their own devices, it can either create into a problem for the group, but obviously tutors, teachers, and we'll be there as well, obviously try and bring them back on course. But others, generally speaking, they tended to really raise their game and go off and do the right thing. So very, very. Of course, during this, we had a situation where lots and lots of the other teams already finished all their games, they'd done everything they needed to do, and they just basically decided that they took it upon themselves to go and help out the others. And I think that will happen too, because once you have the confidence, and hopefully this will again come out in the activity, you'll feel that you want to help some other teams, and we'd obviously encourage this. and it's a great thing to be able to take your experience on to other teams and try and get everyone involved. So I think that's all I kind of have to say at the moment. I think if there's any questions that people want to ask generally about the venue, and I think Eric is also ready to fire off some answers to anything that you have about the actual challenge itself as well. Please go ahead.
Oh, I'm not sure how many people will ask questions on this call, but I know that there's some people that are concerned about the actual, getting to the venue, and if they were delayed, what would be the, contingency there, and we've discussed our timetabling, so that if anybody is a little bit later, then we will allocate their schedule. So that they can take part in the activities in the sort of middle part of the day, and we will ensure that that each team is able to deliver, each element of the competition within the time that they are actually in the competition day. But when they arrive on the day, there'll be a registration desk, and then there'll be somebody there to support them if they arrive a little bit later, and we can kind of work with them on the day to make sure that that they get up to speed as quickly as possible with knowing where they are and everything. Are there any other sort of helpful tips that you think would be useful from your experience of the first LEGO League?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, preparation obviously is a really good thing to take up on, and I certainly would recommend that teams obviously go through everything that they are planning to do on the day. In terms of project presentations, the rooms will be fitted out. Obviously, they're lecture rooms, so they'll be fitted out with all the AV that's required. But if there is anything else that you do need, for example, some of the teams wanted a computer screen. They wanted to show some stuff, not on the main projector. They wanted to show some separate things. That was absolutely fine. We'll have internet access on the day via Wi-Fi, so that shouldn't be a major problem too. But yeah, basically going through all of those elements that people are asked to do on before coming is absolutely crucial, I think, and obviously to give yourself a bit of peace of mind. And you know what, if it doesn't quite pan out to be the way that you think it might, you'd want it to be, that's fine. The whole point is that we want to see what people want to see, what's been done, and how they actually reach that stage, and to make people reflect on what possible issues were or achievements were, and kind of to celebrate those things, and really just to get the experience of going through it. But yeah, in terms of presentation rooms and things like that, we're all kitted out for that. That shouldn't be a major issue. Bring a memory stick with your presentation on, as well as your laptop, and just be prepared for these kinds of things. I don't think it's a major issue. But yeah, I mean, we're going to be there to help. We're going to have people on site. Any questions that come up on the day, if you're worried about something, you forgot something, I'm sure we can sort something out. The aim clearly at the activity is to bring out the best in those teams. There's going to be a bit of anxious running around perhaps at the beginning if you're not sure what to do, but we're there to make it all work, hopefully. So yeah.
Great. And as you said before, this is something that we're going to be running again next year, so the teams are able to to take part again next year, and so it's about the experience and seeing the whole the whole competition day, so that you can learn from it and then take part again next year. And also it's great for the young people to see the university, so that they can think about how it will affect their decision making in the future. They'll get to speak to some STEM ambassadors and hear from some inspiring people that are sort of affiliated with the university. So, the aim of this is to help to raise aspirations of young people and get them to think about, decisions in their future. And it's about sort of breaking down those barriers that they might have, and about the future options, going to university, etc. And you have some cool things at the university that are robotics focused, don't you, Hugh? You've got quite a lot of options with robotics and electronics and programming.
Well, yeah, we've got a great set of things that any university should be proud of. I think certainly, robotics is one thing that we're interested in, and that's why we won the Lego League as well. I mean, when we saw the activities that they were doing, it was kind of a no-brainer for us to take part. And it's really nice that we've managed to get on board with this robotics challenge as well. I think it really fits well with all the STEM, the STEM ethos and all the things that you can put around that to basically get kids involved and interested in engineering and the wider field. So it's really, really good. I think I'd certainly also add to this that repeating the task next year is another really good part of this program. Again, if you're concerned about how the teams have performed this year, well, there's always next year as well, and you can come back and improve on it more. With the Lego League, you find that the task itself changes every year, and the project changes every year. So it's kind of a moving target. But that is a very competitive activity, but not to say it's rewarding if you keep going at it, because the team that actually won our regional tournament was actually one that came back a couple of years. So they'd had a bit of experience. They'd come back and they'd done some work. Clearly, they wouldn't have done that if they weren't interested, if they weren't dedicated, if they really didn't feel that they wanted to do it. And apart from anything else, from my understanding of talking to a lot of the teams that came on our Lego League Day, they all wanted to be there. They all found it really interesting. They felt that it was very rewarding. To have that autonomy and it usually ends up as an extracurricular activity, to be able to go off and do this project, get achievement, and they all went back to their schools. I deliberately made all the teachers in some way make them embarrassed, put them in front of the school assembly or something, to just say, yeah, they did really well, they took part in the activity, and they really achieved well. They got some great photos and memories of the day.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much, Ho. And are there any other questions? Okay, well, I thank you very much for attending the webinar. I'm going to make this available and I am going to end the meeting. If you do want to email any questions, then I would be happy to take your questions. Thank you very much.